How's it going, guys? This is Luke from Real Outdoors, coming to you with a discussion today, survival discussion, and what we're going to be talking about is a very serious matter that is, it's killing tons of people because they are being fed with the wrong survival tips. And so what we're going to be talking about is the 26 most common misconceptions about survival. And so we're just going to be going through talking about them and listing things that people may think are right, but are completely wrong and could kill them easily. So let's start out with number one. Number one on the list is that people think that food is going to be their top priority. Now, if only they know that you can survive for 3 weeks without food. Their top priority is really going to be shelter. The rule of survival, please remember what's first, or it's an acronym: protection, rescue, water, food. Food is the last on the list. Protection or shelter is going to be the largest thing that you're going to want, the first thing that you're going to want. And food, many people die because there's things that'll get you first, as opposed, finding food takes so long that there's going to be things that will get you first. Moving on to the next one, which sort of leads into it, is that shelter, it just means a roof over your head. Now, people could not be more wrong. The thing that's going to make you cold, the killer, is the ground. The ground is so cold that if you can't do anything, if you can only make a roof or something to get you off the ground, make the thing that'll get you off the ground. The roof, all that's going to do is maybe protect you from rainfall, a little bit of wind. It's a very common mistake that people think that they can make. Next, number 3 is that having a field guide to edible plants or mushrooms will make you an expert. No, it's not going to make you an expert. It'll maybe help you, but honestly, I really want to trust my own information and not a field guide. Never trust mushrooms. Mushrooms are just such a killer. People will see mushrooms, think they're edible, think they know something, and eat them and die. So, unless you're an expert on mushrooms, just avoid them if you ever get into a survival situation. The next myth is that no matter, if you keep persisting, you will eventually get fire by using friction. That friction fire, if you keep on trying, it'll eventually happen. And that's so wrong. If after about 10 minutes, you wanna consider what you're doing, because you're probably doing something wrong. It depends on the conditions. If it's wet, depends on the type of wood. You can tell it's not a good wood if, when you are, let's say, using your hand drill, it's squeaking. If you can hear squeaking, that wood is not going to work. Leading into that, another common myth is that friction fire is really hard. While it is a very good skill to learn, and it does take practice, it's not hard if you have the right skills. Many people don't try because they think it'll be too hard, and that ends up killing themselves pretty much. The next one, this is a really good one, is that you can suck poison out of a snake bite. Now, if you try to suck poison, either you won't get it, it's not going to come out, or it will come out and it's going to get down into your system. It's going to damage your lungs. It's going to damage your stomach, and you're going to be in a wreck. If you get a snake bite, you really just want to put pressure on the location, and if you can get help, then get help, but snake bites are really not good. The next one is that you can drink straight from a cactus. Now, there's one kind of cactus that you can drink straight out of, which is the barrel cactus. But that's unless you're an expert, stay away from it, because most cacti have high concentrations of alkaline, which will make you completely sick, and it's not good. It's not like in the movies where you see them come up, chop the top head off the cactus, and drink straight from it. It's not gonna happen. You're gonna get sick. Cacti, prickly pear, you can eat if you cut off the spines, and you really just, unless you really know about it, you want to sort of stay away from cactus. Number 8, people think that they can rely on, I read this, I watched that, I have my smartphone, so I know how to survive. Now, watching Man vs. Wild isn't gonna give you all the skills. You need to put the skills into action and practice and study up on them. And just because you're gonna read something or watch something, you can't call yourself an expert. You can't say that you know how to survive, because although I ran out of storage, so now I'm back. Sorry about that. Sorry that I cut out. But just getting back onto the subject of relying on the shows and books, they all have help, and it says not to rely on them in actual survival situations. They're really not gonna help you, and it's really gonna be a killer in the actual situation. Number 9. People think that drinking their pee is going to save you. Thank you, Bear Grylls, for that. But honestly, drinking your pee, all it's gonna do is, say you're on the verge of heat stroke, you're in the desert, you're like, okay, I have to pee. Let's drink my pee. Drinking your pee is going to push you over the edge in a sense. It's gonna make your body go into overdrive, and that heat stroke probably gonna happen. So, unless you're in a super dire situation, very dire, do not drink your pee. Don't be Bear Grylls, please. Number 10 is that the myth is that you should ration your water in the desert. That's really not going to help you. Your body, it needs the water. Your body can do the conserving of it itself. Your body knows how to work. If you ration your water, you're just going to get more dehydrated. You're going to take a little sip, and you're going to sweat that straight out. So rationing your water is not going to be a good idea if you're in the desert. Number 11 is using tourniquets. That's a no-no right there. The circumstances when you're going to have to use a tourniquet are super rare. Super rare. Don't spend money on getting one. And if you really do need it, you can make a makeshift one. But using a tourniquet it's probably, if you're going to use it, you're going to lose your limb. It damages your arteries and veins. And it's just going to be way more painful. Pressure is going to be the best option for arterial wounds. Going on to number 12. For some reason, people think that applying heat to a sprained ankle is going to help it, and no, that won't help. The best thing to remember is the RICE acronym, which is rest. You need to rest it, put ice on it, use compression, and elevate it. That's going to be the best thing to remember if you have a sprained ankle. You don't want to do all these silly remedies or whatever you've learned. Just the RICE acronym: rest, ice, compression, elevation. Number 13. Now this one isn't necessarily a myth. It's just something that a lot of people think, and it sort of bugs me. What it is people think that paracord has 5 strands or 4 strands, or they're guessing about how many strands paracord actually has. Now, if you actually look at paracord, if you actually have some, you'll see that it has 1 strand, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Has 7 strands. So don't go around confusing people by saying it has all these different number of strands. Paracord, 550 paracord, has 7 strands. Alright. Number 14. People think that survival is fun. And it's really not fun. I'm honestly scared of getting into a situation of where I have to survive, and that's why I prepare. You know, that's why I study it and practice for it, because I don't want to be the person who's dying if I ever do get into a situation like that. And a lot of people think, oh yeah, this is going to be really fun. It's not fun. Don't think it's fun. It's a serious thing, you know. Number 15. A lot of people think that they can tell north by checking the moss on the north of trees. They think that moss will be on the north of trees. Moss is going to grow on all sides of trees. If you actually have been in the woods, you'll see that moss isn't just on one side. It's on all sides. If it's moist enough, there's going to be moss everywhere. You can't rely on that. Number 16. People think that they can eat what animals eat. That's a killer. That's a big killer right there. Because they'll see animals eat some berries, and they'll go and pick them up and realize that they're poisonous. And they'll die. Don't eat what animals eat. Animals have a lot more tolerance to things like that. Just don't do it. Number 17. Now this one, I don't know. I don't know what people are thinking on this. Number 17. People think that rubbing your frostbite with snow counteracts the frostbite. How much more wrong could you be? That'll make it completely worse. Completely worse. Do not rub snow on frostbite. That's idiotic, honestly. Just don't do it. Don't think it. Don't believe anyone who says it. Number 18. A lot of people think that grizzly bears will leave if you play dead. If you play dead, grizzly bears get more interested. They might maul you to see if they can get you to move. You know, they're not sure. They're not sure. Don't play dead. The best thing to do is to stop movement, and if it starts chasing you, drop your pack and run. It'll get distracted by the pack, and you'll have a little bit of time to run. Alright? Number 19. People think that water is safe if it is in a fast-flowing stream tumbling over rocks, or it is aerated, because it is aerated when it tumbles over the rocks. No. What's going through your minds when you think, alright, this aeration is going to filter out giardia? You know, air is not going to filter anything, you know. It's not safe. Always filter. You know, there could be a dead animal that walked into the fast-flowing stream and got swept and died. You know, just because it's fast doesn't mean animals don't go in it. Alright. Number 20, leading into streams as well, is that you should take your boots and socks off when you're crossing a stream. That's just going to lead to injury. It's going to lead to you being cold. It's really a not good idea to take off your boots. You're going to be way more safe if you have your shoes or boots, you know, whatever you're wearing on. don't take it off. I'm going to admit, I have had an experience where I have taken my boots off as I'm crossing a stream. You know, I'm not saying that it's like these things are things that everyone does. But I have taken off my boots, and it was the scariest moment of my life. You know, I was with my friend, and we both had taken off our boots and socks, and we were about 3/4 of the way across, and there was this last little leap, but it was super slick, and that's right where the water got flowing super fast. And so he barely made it. I see him, as he crosses, he slips, and I see him barely get across, and he luckily he just brought out his paracord, tied his safety line, and I got across. But you know, bad idea, because we had much less traction on the rock. Number 21, sort of leading into that wet clothes area. People think that sitting by the fire to dry off will help them. The wet clothes are gonna really be a killer. You know, you don't want to wait. You want to take off all your clothes before you dry them on the fire. Do not leave them on. That's what's going to kill you. Not the cold air. If you're by a fire and you have no clothes, you'll be fine. The wetness is what's going to kill you. Number 22, people think that if they find north, it means that it'll lead them to safety. Not everything is north. Not everything is north. You need to know the actual direction to where you're going. Once you find north, great. But you need to know if the town is east or west, or if it's south. You need to know that. You know. Number 23, Bear Grylls. Thank you again for this. A common misconception is that night is good for traveling in the desert because it'll be cooler. Travel in the heat and cool off at night in your sleep. You know, if you travel at night, the chance of injury and getting lost even further increases by that much, you know? It's really not gonna help you at all, if not hurt you. Number 24 is people think that you should travel swiftly in a survival situation and try to get out as fast as possible. No, travel cautiously, please. If you're in a survival situation, you want to be as cautious as possible to prevent from getting hurt or getting lost. When you're running around, you know, you're going to almost inevitably hurt yourself. Number 25. The best purification is to boil. Some people think that. Now, in most situations, yes, that's the best way of purifying water. But if you're in a place where there's going to be chemicals, metals in the water, boiling them is going to filter out the diseases and stuff, but what it's going to do is it's going to concentrate the chemicals and metals even more and make it even more deadly and potent. So, you know, in some situations, boiling is not the best method. The last one, number 26, is that following a river or stream will always lead to civilization. People think that, and thank you, Bear Grylls, again for that one. No, I mean, that's why you really cannot rely on your books or TV shows, because at least, you know, like 5 of these have probably been because of people watching Man vs. Wild and they see Bear Grylls do it, and since Bear Grylls does it, they do it. And, you know, he does this all the time, following the rivers and streams to find civilization. Now, it's really not going to happen. Rivers and streams like that can lead for hundreds and hundreds of miles before they get anywhere. You know, if you're in a vast area, it's just not going to be your best idea to follow a river or stream. Alright, well, that was the 26 common misconceptions of survival. If you like this video, just leave a like, leave a comment, tell me what I could do better. I really want to know. If you liked it a lot and you want to see more, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.